Spectacular, spectacular, Spider-Man. Spectacular, spectacular, Spider-Man. Spectacular, spectacular, Spider-Man. Spectacular.
What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, your number one stop destination for anything and everything animation, including sometimes live action. In this case, everyone's favorite webhead from Queens. Welcome to the end of Spider-Thon. It has been quite the journey, to say the least, but now, here we are at the final tier list. And yes, I'm doing it as a tier list because no one will watch it in the other format. I tried it for the Pokemon movies, no one watched it, so I'm doing it as a tier list. And don't worry, it's not going to be nearly as long as the other tier lists that I've done in the past, because here we only have a few films. Well, it is a few, I don't know why there's duplicates, but yep. We have the Raimi trilogy, the Web duology, the MCU trilogy, and the SpiderVerse duology, as well as Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Morbius. So, yep, we don't have that many films to go through this time around, and I don't know why there's duplicates, but this is the only 2023 tier list that I could find online. So, without further ados or delays, let's begin. Let's start all the way at the beginning with the Sam Raimi trilogy. Starting with the original Spider-Man, please ignore the stupid background crap, someone's taking a shower. The first Raimi movie is amazing. I already said it's one of my favorite movies of all time, but actually no, I believe I gave it a 10 actually. It goes into Excelsior. So, yeah, it goes in Excelsior. I already did full reviews on most of these movies, so this is just going to be my summarization of them. I love this movie. I loved it as a kid. I still love it now. One of my favorite movies of all time, right up there with Batman 89. So, yeah, outstanding, fantastic, phenomenal movie, and I still love watching it to this day. Even with the cheesy cornballiness of it all, it's still a great movie. Tobey Maguire is my favorite Spider-Man, and it just did so many things right, man. It's such a great movie. I love it. Moving on from that is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Now, while I still prefer the first one as my favorite, no denying that the sequel is better. It's more adult, it's more mature, and also Doc Ock is just as great a villain as Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. We all know it's amazing, we all know it's phenomenal, and we all know it belongs in the top tier. So, yep, nothing more to say. Great, phenomenal, fantastic movie. Did a full review on it if you really want my full thoughts on it. And also that train scene, and huge thank you to Isaiah Vila on Facebook, who pointed out that I accidentally forgot to bring up the Evil Dead scene. You know, the one where Doc Ock's arms kill people and there's no music. Yeah, I'm sorry for forgetting that scene. I was so scatterbrained trying to get everything in there. And Aunt May's speech, of course. I can't forget that either. Like, phenomenal movie. Absolutely phenomenal movie. Then there's Spider-Man 3, which I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, that goes in the Shadow Realm. It's a piece of crap. But if you saw my 22-minute long, well, if you saw my super long collab review I did with Spider-Phantom on this one, you would know that him and I both found it spectacular. I think it's still a very good movie, just a very flawed movie. And again, just like I said in my review, I put more of the blame for this ending up the way it was on Sony and their corporate screwery rather than Sam Raimi, the cast, and the crew. So, yeah. There's still really good moments in Spider-Man 3, and I still really enjoy it, but I definitely can agree it's nowhere near the tier of the first two movies. Then we get to the Mark Webb films, starting off with the first Amazing Spider-Man. This one was a first-time watch for me after seeing the mixed reactions to it online. And yeah, this one goes into the amazing tier. I loved this film when I watched it. I loved its down-to-earth realism. Andrew Garfield's a fantastic Spider-Man. I liked Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. I loved their whole romance. And yes, while Lizard was a terrible villain, that's really my only problem. The rest of this movie is fantastically crafted, very well built, and just so much fun to watch. Like, I love Amazing Spider-Man. It's nowhere near the tier of the Raimi films, but it is a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. Now take all the things I just said and throw them off a cliff, because we have the one and only movie that's going in the Shadow Realm. Amazing Spider-Man 2 literally takes all those positives I just said about the first one, with the exception of Gwen and Peter's relationship and Andrew Garfield's performance as Spider-Man. Everything else blows. I did a whole video about it. I'm not gonna lose my cool over it again. It's a piece of crap. We all know it's a piece of crap. Moving on. Now for the MCU trilogy. And I already said before, I love this trilogy. And I believe I gave the first one, I think it was either a 7 or an 8. I gave it an 8, so it goes into amazing. This is a great refresh for Spider-Man. Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man after being introduced amazingly in Civil War. And here, yes, I know people give the Tony Stark Jr. argument, but in my opinion, especially seeing now how the whole story plays out, it is, in a way, Peter's unique own origin story. It's not like Raimi's, it's not like Webb's. It's just entirely new and entirely its own thing. So, that's what I love about it. And then you add in Michael Keaton's Vulture, one of the best MCU villains ever, and yeah, you have a fantastic movie. And then you add in the great dialogue and hilarious moments. Like, such a funny, fantastic, fun movie. And then Far From Home ups the stakes and really pushes it to their extreme. I gave it the same score I gave Amazing Spider-Man, but I don't think it's quite on the level of Amazing Spider-Man. Well, actually, I do think it's better, and it's because of the twist with Mysterio. I know a lot of people think, oh, that twist sucks, so it ruins the movie. No, it is a great twist, you just need to look at it from a certain point of view. And Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio was fantastic. I loved the reveal at the end that Maria and Nick this whole time were Skrulls. And Spider-Man's whole conflict of trying to deal with Stark's death following Endgame and numerous other things, so yeah. Far From Home is a fantastic movie. I absolutely loved it, and it did a great job being a sequel to Homecoming while also being an epilogue to the Infinity Saga. So, yeah, excellent film. I already did a full review on it. Nothing more to say. Speaking of nothing more to say, no, this movie's been taught to death. I already did a whole big 1 hour long review of it with the Movie Hero Network, a new friend of mine, Jordan Anderson. And we both love this movie. I gave it an 11. I think he gave it an 8. I gotta rewatch his review again, but yeah, this is Spider-Man's best live-action movie by far. Brings all 3 Spider-Men together as well as a bunch of great villains. Fixes Electro's character. Sadly, Lesnar gets the shaft, but it's whatever. Very minor nitpick. And then the way it all crafts together while being an incredibly strong story on its own, even without all that crossover and multiverse shenanigans, it's fantastic. It's like it literally took everything that Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 got wrong when they tried to juggle too much, and completely fixed it. One of the best comic book movies of all time, period. Okay. I'm going to leave my thoughts on the Venom movies brief as well, because I want to do a whole review on both of these, probably in October, but I'll just put it at this. The first Venom, yes, it is a bad adaptation of the source material. But, I'm sorry, I have a lot of fun with it. Like, I still think it's a good movie. It has some really funny moments. I think Tom Hardy did a great job as Eddie Brock, way better than Topher Grace. I like Venom's design, and it just feels like an ode and an homage to those goofy, campy, silly 2000s superhero movies that I grew up with. And because of that, I'm going a lot easier on this movie than most people. I really enjoy this film. Not as much as Spider-Man 3, but I still think it's a really good movie. I really enjoy it. Let There Be Carnage was a bit of a disappointment, I'm not gonna lie. But it still has its entertaining moments, and that Eminem song is excellent. So, because of that, I'm going to put it in the spectacular tier as well. But I'm just not going to put it up. Actually, no, I'm going to move it down to okay, because it's PG-13 and there's no blood. Seriously, both these Venom movies should have been R-rated. Now let's just get this one out of the way. I already talked about this one on length in the worst of 2022 list. So, you want my full thoughts on this movie? Go watch my worst movies of 2022 list. Because I'm not going over it again here. But yeah, it's worse than Amazing Spider-Man 2. It is a terrible movie. It is a crap movie. And it is a pain in the rear end to sit through. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a pile of crap. It's going to sit right there. Alright, now let's finish off with SpiderVerse, starting with Into the SpiderVerse. I think I might have ticked off a few people with my review of it, giving it an 8 out of 10, where most people would give it a 9 or a 10, but me personally, Kingpin being such a terrible villain just really, really does not help in that regard. And because of that, I'm going to put it at the bottom of the amazing tier, but it's definitely above these 5. Like, it is still a great movie. It's still a really fun movie, and I had a blast with it. Like, Into the Spider-Verse is still a great film. I'm absolutely not doubting that. The animation, the story, the characters, the writing, the voice acting, the action. It's pretty much all great. If Kingpin wasn't such a terrible villain, sorry, Liev Schreiber, I absolutely love you, man, but this was not your role. Like, if Kingpin wasn't such a bad villain, I would absolutely put this higher on this list, but as is, it can go right there at the bottom of the amazing tier. And then we have the new kid on the block, Across the Spider-Verse. Best Spider-Man movie ever made. It literally takes all the problems that this one had and fixes it, while also setting a new standard for every comic book movie going forward, and showing how deep, complex, and just all-out amazing writing and animated movies can be from here on out. From here on out, this is the measuring stick I'm using for every animated film going forward. Whether it's Pixar, whether it's Sony, whether it's DreamWorks, whether it's Illumination. This is now the new standard, and is so far my film of the year. And yes, I know probably by the end of this is going to be super cliche, because I know that 3C and Austin Burke are also going to have this at the top of their lists, but I mean, I can't deny it. It's such a fantastic, phenomenal, outstanding movie, and don't worry, I promise you I will do a spoiler review sometime in the future. I need to go see it a couple more times. That way I can have the moments stick in my head more. That way I don't have to try to get them all from memory, and I'll be a very blubbery mess. So, yep. Here is the final ranking of all 8, 9, 10, of all 12 of these movies. So, in 12th place, the worst one is Morbius. 11th is Amazing Spider-Man 2. 10th is Let There Be Carnage. 9th is Venom. 8th is Spider-Man 2. 7th is Into the Spider-Verse. 6th goes to Homecoming. 5th goes to Amazing Spider-Man. 4th goes to Far From Home. 5 goes to Spider-Man. 4 goes to Amazing Spider-Man. 3 goes to Spider-Man 2. 2 goes to No Way Home. And number 1 goes to Across the Spider-Verse. You can call it recency bias. I do not care. It is my favorite Spider-Man movie. And it's going to be the measuring stick for Spider-Man movies and animated films and comic book films going forward. Yeah. That's going to do it for Spider-Thon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for all the content. And while this is the last video you're getting for today, don't worry, we'll be right back at the content tomorrow. But for those of you that are looking for some extra content, I also have a second channel, Cynical Saiyan 77. Check that one out if you don't mind cursing, and it's literally everything I can't do on Animation Station. That's more of the live action stuff, that's the music stuff, that's the game stuff. Like, over there, you're gonna find a lot more content than here, to an extent. So, yeah. Also, if you do subscribe over there, you have 2 more reviews to look forward to today, as I'm going to be reviewing the first Transformers movie, because Rise of the Beast is coming up soon, so we gotta review them all. Except the animated one, because we don't have time. And, well, since Flash is also right around the corner, we're also going to be looking at the entire DC EU, and I also threw in 3 extra films, starting by taking a look at the first 2 Superman movies to make up for the fact that I already reviewed the first 2 Shazam films. And, just as a favorite, and just because I want to talk about it, I also threw in Batman 1989, so, yep. See you today for Transformers 1 and Superman 1. Until then, have a great day. Peace.